to Demo Time here at Tech Alley. Demo Time is hosted by Vegas programmers. Glad to have everybody here today. I'm sure we'll have some more shuffle in as we all kind of get back from lunch. Again, awesome lunch and awesome things that Joshua Levitt and James have put together. It's great that we can get all of these meetups together in one spot. It's always kind of frustrating when you have like one meetup that's by itself on one time and justifying driving down for that, but having one day where it's packed full of all these different meetups, all this free knowledge sharing is just amazing. So thanks again to them for putting this together. Today we have 4 awesome demos lined up. So first we have School Aged by Blake. He reached out to me about a month ago and wanted to get lined up. It's basically about streamlining the learning and training process. So I'm really excited to hear more about it. Next we have DJ Uch with Club 90s. He's going to be speaking about something that he's building in the, I assume, music space. And then is Chris Fluker here?
Yes, she's here.
Okay. They're going to be speaking about mainstream stenography. And then we've got Joshua Levitt, which I know he's here. He's got to be here, right? And Zach and some of the other folks here with Intagli. That's how you pronounce it, right? Cool. So thanks again. Let's get it kicked off without further ado.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you very much for attending, and thank you very much for listening to me. Real quick question, just to do a survey. How many people here have student loan debt? How many people know anyone who has student loan debt? How many people know anyone or themselves have kids who you're worried about student loan debt? Excellent. And the reason why I ask is because during the COVID crisis, I was the same way. I actually went back to school to finish up my bachelor's degree, and I was worried as all hell about student loan debt. So I decided to go to an online school where it was at pace. And the funny thing is, I was able to complete 2.5 years of college in about 3.5 months, and it cost me a total of $3,500. And how I did that, yeah, it's pretty nice. No student loan debt for me. Now, how I did that was I built a tool that took in all the information that the college was sending me, aggregated it, had it set up where it was aggregated and put into place in a way where it was easier for me to learn, easier for me to test out, and easier for me to move on to the next subject. So what this tool is, it was actually in sort of a database form when I previously created it. Now we're turning it into a web app. And what it does is it allows you to take all the information, compartmentalize it and sort it and easily access it, and then later reference it to see how much of it more you need to learn. In this way, you're not wasting your time learning things you already knew, and also you're just focused on where you need to go, so it's less time spending getting to that information. While I got your attention, I want to give my team, my partial team here right now, a chance to introduce themselves. Go right ahead, guys.
I'm Courtney. I do project development, project management, and all of the coding.
I'm Kevin Montague, so visual marketing.
Our other member cannot be here together, Dr. Tony Wold, mainly because he's in another part of the country. That being said, how our tool works, well, first of all, it addresses what the challenges that our tool addresses in both training and education. Tuition is incredibly costly, and training in general is incredibly costly. There's roughly around $11,000 per year to go tuition at a basic in-state school. Training can cost into thousands of dollars based on what you're training and what that particular industry is. It's an incredibly expensive process, and it's something that needs to be streamlined to be more efficient and more economical for everyone involved. And like I said, what our tool does is it takes all the information that's presented to you, breaks it down into a little bit of chunks, and that's way it's easily accessible. And then it gives you an opportunity to test and get your feedback on what you need to learn going over into that tool. It starts out by coming into basically into a subdirectory system where now you see the topics presented to you, where you can just quickly click on the chapter and the topic. From there, you have the notes you put in from your learning materials, the book notes. You also have notes that you got in from the internet, and also a video that you can upload to supplement the learning materials. This way you have a full 360-degree understanding of the materials that you need to learn, and at the same time, it's focused directly on that particular material. And here, our testing system is actually, it's simple, but it makes things a whole lot easier. What you do is you input the questions and answers from the test, from the book, either the review questions or maybe from a teacher. But the idea is you put in the questions, you put in your answers, and this way you get an automatic feedback loop of what you need to learn. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on your part over here, I apologize. No, this is actually where the tests are administered by a group admin, either a teacher or a trainer. They put in the test for the end user to use, and the end user to eventually take the test. This right here is data also by the group admin, teacher, or administrator, where they can essentially see how a particular student or subscriber or trainee is doing. So if you're an organization that's monitoring or training other people, you get a better understanding of how they're doing based on their performance at the test that they do.
So now we'll just kind of show you a little bit of the platform before you go through the rest.
So this right here is the app itself. As you can see, they're breaking down into categories. In this case, we're going to go to English and a particular book in English. So let's say you start out here on chapter 1, which is the top topic, in this case, allegory. Here it explains what an allegory is, based on the book notes that you input yourself. Here it shows web notes that you can take from any particular learning site, in this case, Wikipedia. And here is a YouTube video if you want to better understanding of what an allegory is. But let's say now you need to go to chapter 1D, 1D through F. Chapter 1D through F. And let's say, scroll down, well, let's say you want to learn a little bit more what a document is. This, again, here you see all the new set of notes for that particular topic, new set of notes from the web that you input, a new YouTube video. Up top is where you have the metadata of exactly where that information basically came from. So in this case, page 30, topic is denouement, and it's from the book related to Elements of English. So now, we're going to testing?
Yes.
So now, let's say, as you know, most classes, pretty much grade school all the way through college, about 25% of those classes is basically reviewing something you already knew. In this case, you don't have to do that because once you take, let's say, a test for yourself just to see what you need to learn and don't learn, now you can actually see the results of that test. Demo test.
So this is the group side that would show the activity and allow the admin to assign tests and see results. And then if we go over to the subscriber side, this is where they would actually take the test and see their own results.
Now, as you can see in this particular test, the green means you got the answer correct. The red means that you got the answer incorrect. So this means you really should focus on what you got highlighted red. So this way you're not wasting time relearning stuff you already knew, and you can actually focus on stuff that you need to focus on and learn. And what makes it easy is if you click on that little source, the source data right there, it takes you specifically to the topic related to the test. So there's a lot of time saved looking up stuff, a lot of time saved just generally review, and a lot of time saved avoiding stuff that you already need to know. From here, this is basically just general industries that could probably use this type of tool: mechanical engineering, construction, computer programming, data analytics, medical, real estate, insurance, legal and financial services. Industries that may have licensing requirements, or industries that may just generally need you to be more knowledgeable and trained up on stuff.
And right now we're working with different real estate agencies, different kind of HVAC systems, et cetera, that are vocational and trade to kind of standardize those things so we can offer certain text and materials for people that are looking to do the same thing that consistent.
And I think, yeah, pretty much that covers it all, I think. All right, any questions? Go ahead.
So I think it's a great idea, but sourcing the data seems like the biggest challenge. So how are you like pulling in the video? How is that all being done automated, or is that like a manual process right now?
Right now it's manual. Like all the information I put in here is basically books I got from the library, or online books or free materials and things of that nature. Once I put in the book notes, then I just do a general Google search for more supplementary information, like compressor of an air conditioner. I just Google compressor, and that way it led me to the web notes to support it and also the video notes. And that's one of the things that makes it so much more economically efficient, is all this is pretty much open source information. Literally your library could be your new university, and you just need to know where to take the proctor test just to get your degree and just test out.
Yeah, I could see this being really successful for like real estate tests, HVAC tests, like things like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I would also say, just to that point, working, we're trying to kind of work in the AI space and with third-party servers to be able to, not just embed the PDFs or videos and allow them to be viewed there, but also kind of extract that information to make it easy upload, as well as offer standardized things for people in the same industry that we feel like are going to be used repeatedly, whether it's an LSAT or Key Realty or something like that.
Any other questions?
How are you guys monetizing this?
So right now, because we are a startup and we don't have a lot of money, what we're doing is we basically use the little money we did have to get to this point, and then we're using beta testers, STEM training organizations, HVAC companies, also someone that specializes in converting recycled waste food into dog food. And what we're doing is we're using them to give feedback, prove the concept, see how well it improves learning over what they're currently doing. Then we have the proof of concept, and because right now we have a patent pending, but we're gonna secure a non-provisional patent, and then we're gonna take it to another organization. Like, just using your imagination, imagine this being an add-on for ChatGPT, and how much more efficient it would make like learning in general be. So we're essentially going to take our patent to a tech company or an education company that could integrate this to their current platform.
Yeah, so this is either kind of in merger, kind of exit strategy, or we're looking at a subscription model for both businesses and individuals.
Well, subscription or royalty,
Right.
or a licensing royalty deal.
Thank you.
Good?
You mentioned businesses. Does that mean that a client can come to you that has extensive SOPs and they want to create some sort of training module?
Absolutely.
Or something like this?
Absolutely. That's actually one of the beauty of this is we're not actually selling any content. All the content here, all the information that we put in there was just stuff I put in to prove that it works. But you could actually, a company might have such a specialized or niche thing that they want to train their people on, and they can put in their own materials into there and then supplement it, whatever supporting information from the internet. That's one of the beauties of it, is it's incredibly flexible. The fact that we're not pushing content, we're just making the content they already have a lot easier to read and comprehend. Any other questions? Well, you guys are a lot nicer than I was hoping. You guys are a lot nicer than I thought. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Next demo we have lined up is DJ Pooch with 90s. A lot of 90s. Oh, okay.
a live product demo of our new product. My name is Uch, great to be here with you. You can hit that QR code at any time during this talk. I'm here to talk to you about Club 90s, which is an idea I got during the pandemic, because guess what, in the pandemic, anybody remember that?
Yeah. Incredibly.
Could you go outside during the pandemic?
No.
Right, so if you wanted to party, you had to do it at home. And I put on these Zoom parties for my friends. Back east, I grew up in New York City. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna play music from when we were in high school. Let's just all get together. And the first week we had about 10 people. And people's kids were in the back, and people getting their drink on, dogs were running through, it was fun. Got to hear music, and then also be together. The next week, because we did it again, people said that was fun, let's do it again. We had 20 people. The following week after that, we had 40. And at that point, I said, there's something happening here. There's something happening here that I want to touch on. First off, a little bit about me. I'm a tech developer and a musician. I'm a DJ and producer. I've been a recording artist for the last 15 years. Been a DJ for 19 years as well. I've toured around the world. Like I said, I'm from New York originally. I've been here in Las Vegas for 6 years. And in between, I got the opportunity to live in Ibiza. Anybody heard of Ibiza before?
Yeah.
Some pronounce it Ibiza, yeah. It's a really amazing place. I got to live there for 4 years, and I was in Dubai for 2 years after that. So I know a lot about music. I am the algorithm when it comes to music. I'm just letting you know. If you've ever been to a party of mine, then you know that. Beyond that, in the pandemic, I started an education company teaching the financial markets. That's a super long story that we'll talk about over coffee one day. With that, I started developing actually last year because it was really on my heart to start producing. And when I started as a DJ, I had no desire to be a musician at all. About 4 years into me doing it, I started to make music, which tracks with my time in finance. I started with Bitcoin back in 2017, buying it at $5,000. Yes, round of applause for that, right? And about 5 years into blockchain, I decided to start developing, hence why I'm here. And by the way, this is my first mobile app creation. Round of applause for that. And I said mobile app creation, it's me who actually did all the coding as well. So I'm a tech developer for real. Also 3-time author. All right, remember that demonstration we just did a few minutes ago?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make you dance again. All right, we're gonna ask you all to stand up again, stand up again. Stand up again, please. All right, great. Almost there. There we go. All right. If you were born after 2005, sit down. After 2005, okay. If you were born after the year 2000, sit down. All right. If you were born after 1995, sit down.
Like I was born in 1995.
You can stay standing. Yeah. All right. If you were born after 1990, sit down. Okay, so we roughly have about half the room. I would say about half the room. Okay, you can all sit down now.
The whole
Some of you were like, did I like fulfill a lot of people's exercise for the week with that? Okay, you're welcome. Did you know, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, approximately 56%, that's more than half, much like this room, of the population is age 35 or older. Now forgive my math, if you're 35, you're born in 1988, however, we're all friends here, right? There are roughly 146 million people in America alone who are aged 35 through 70. That is the current data that we have. Now, when I was doing these Zooms, what I noticed about my friends was that they were having a lot of fun. These are people who I used to party with. I still party because I still DJ, and I'm not out all the time. However, I'm still out in front of people. I was DJing at the Sahara last weekend. I'm playing in Ibiza in September. I'm still active as a DJ. However, people who were Gen X, that 35 and older, they don't really go out the same way that they used to. Anyone see the movie Knocked Up? All right, so this is that scene there where they don't get let in the club. the question is, where do you go now, right? Because just because you get older doesn't mean you stop loving art or music. You still have a passion for it. The only thing is, where do you go for it? If you turn on the radio, they're often playing what's today, and you're lost because you're like, I don't know these songs. I don't even understand what they're saying. On a whole other quotient, when you're on Spotify or Apple Music, yes, the algorithm is pretty good. Sometimes it sucks, right? Because anyone ever skip a song while listening to Spotify or Apple Music? Okay, cool. Anyone ever skip a YouTube video because you're just like, this is not what I wanted to watch, this is not what I wanted to listen to? Okay, that's a problem as well, in the sense that you're not getting exactly what you want when you want. And plus, with Spotify and Apple Music, the songs start, and then what do? They end. Start, end, start, end. Anyone ever be out to a party where a DJ was unbelievable and you lost track of time?
Yeah.
Hand up in the air if you have. Hand up in the air. We're doing participation today. For those of you who have not, I invite you to one of my parties.
If we don't get to come?
That, pardon?
If we had a good experience, we don't get to come?
No, of course. You're invited as well. You're first in line, actually. The idea here is that a great DJ experience can actually absolutely transfix where you're at. It can take you on a huge ride as to where you've been also, which is why we're doing this here. So again, you go to that QR code. Right now, that'll take you to a job form. We're going to take just your name and email, phone number. What we want to do is be able to text you when we're actually building this up some more. The product demo that you heard and danced to earlier is up now. So once you get through that first page, it'll send you to the app where there's a music player, and there's about 4 hours of music on there. We'll be at 10 hours of music by next week. We'll continue to build the content library. And the idea here is a great DJ mix can take you to a whole other level. And for those of my friends here who are 35 and older, I know you don't go out anymore. Generally speaking, minus the wedding or two per year. So here's a great chance for you to go back in time while having a great time. And with that is what we're doing, Club 90s. Round of applause for yourself for being here. I'll take any questions that you have. Yep.
I'll ask the same question she asked last time, like, what's your plan with monetization?
Yeah, monetization, we're looking at subscriptions to do that.
Okay. And are you opening up the platform to all DJs, like if they want to upload their own mixes and things like that?
That's a great question. We've been asked that a couple times. So currently what we're doing is curating the process. What happens sometimes when you're on a SoundCloud or Mixcloud or YouTube, there are DJs out there who are unbelievable, that you don't want to shut the mix off. In fact, you listen to it 100 times a month if you're me. And then there are other DJs. Skip. And we want to avoid that, right? We want to create a user experience that, again, takes you on that ride and that journey where you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I don't want to put this down. Oh my gosh, I'm late for work. Like really getting into you on a deep, deep level.
So I guess what I would worry about something like this would be like the Milli Vanilli effect, where let's say clubs will just put some dude at a DJ booth not doing anything, but then playing this on the club, and then that end up getting the club in trouble. Is there a mechanism, or has that ever been thought about, or maybe I'm just overthinking it?
Yeah, that's a great question. What was your name again?
Blake.
Blake, thank you, Blake, and I appreciate your presentation earlier. It was a really fun concept.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So clubs are already doing this. Maybe not Omnia or Hakkasan, however, you have been to a bar or a lounge that was playing a mix.
Straight. Okay.
So this is already happening, and the idea is at least let's make the mix really, really good.
Now, wouldn't that open up also an opportunity for commercial monetization, where let's say because it's going to be played for more people, you can charge a club who's using this for commercial purposes more than an individual?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Could go in that direction. I know that, again, they're already using these, there's places that you'll go to that's playing Pandora, or they're playing Spotify, or they're playing YouTube. They're already doing this. So them coming to us and saying, hey, can you create a special mix for us? We have this going on. There's a mix of mine that I did for a friend. Her wedding was about 8 years ago. 8 years ago. What number did I just say? 8. What number did I just say? 8. All right, cool. Just making sure you're awake. So 8 years ago, I did this mix for a friend, and she said, "We're not hiring a DJ for the wedding. It's a small wedding. You're invited. Can you just put a 2-hour mix together for us?" I said, "I love you. Of course I will." Put that 2-hour mix together. I got everybody dancing. Everybody loved it. It was a good time. I still use that mix for times when I want to put it on and I'm in another room, for setup periods, for parties that I'm going to, that I'm like, hey, I got some music, throw some music on. And it always works. In fact, there was one time I played at Caesars where I had a glitch with my laptop, and I was like, oh man, all right, ooh, let me play that mix. Filled up the dance floor and kept it for like a good 20 minutes while I was figuring out what my laptop issue was. So it's remarkable, again, what a solid DJ mix will do. Yep.
So, why would people use SoundCloud?
Great question. So SoundCloud is already out there. It's a model. It goes back to remember the really great DJ that you listen to their mix 100 times a month, and then the others.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that on SoundCloud, and again, I'm a product of the product. My friends who don't go out anymore and want great mixes, it's again a hit or miss. The same way with the Spotify can be a hit or miss because not only the songs stopping and ending, sometimes they play songs that are like, play this last hour, why are you playing this? This doesn't fit, kind of thing.
Does that mean that you're vetting the music that goes on there?
Highly curated. It's highly, highly curated, yes.
So like, I have experience producing and engineering music, and I love music. You know, I really commend you for what you've
Thank
done.
you.
It's amazing. Like,
Thank you. Before you continue your question, again, join us. Us is me. So if you are an engineer, if you're into marketing, if you just love music, or you just want to throw some ideas, please. I am an open person for any and all because I really love this idea and concept. Yep.
so like, just a couple points. Like, one, are you concerned that like Club 90s makes you too niche? Like, do you think that you might possibly expand that to try to reach more of the younger crowd? Because I think that there would be an argument made where a lot of the music, like don't get me wrong, everybody loves music, but like the biggest consumers of music are the young generation typically, especially with newer stuff. So like, do you have any thoughts about that?
It's a great question. With the younger generation, let's say the TikTok generation, Gen Z, I'll get to them in 10 years when they stop going out. Because this principally is for people who aren't out and about. You know, young people, younger people, because I'm young. Thank you. They consume music largely because it's a huge part of their identity. They're also going out regularly, so they want to hear the slaps that they heard outside, at home. Whereas, again, seeing that experience of being on Zoom with my friends who I know never go out anymore and seeing how they were reacting and acting was so inspirational to me. And I know that they're listening on the treadmill when they go to the gym. I know that they're listening in the car when they're dropping their kids off. Like, I know that music is still being consumed. It's just they have this where do I go thing. And then if you go back to that, this person, poor lady, I mean, they end up like this, where they're like, they kind of check out or tune out, you know, on some level from looking for it. So when we give them that opportunity to be like, hey, just come here, this is a safe space for you, that's where I see, similar to what happened 3 years ago, the 10s to the 20s to the 40 people in 3 weeks. It's like, I didn't even know the people on the Zoom at that point. And that was all organic, so. Great question though, thank you.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Well,
Yes?
if I could jump in, because it's a great piggyback off of that.
Okay.
My question for you is going to be around playlists and what your basically stage 2 is, because I feel like this is brand new and we're so lucky to be here at the stage. But to your point on the younger generation, I will actually say that the TikTokers and the new Gen Zs are the ones who brought Y2K back, right? So if anyone's going to bring the 90s music back and make it popular again, it's actually the new generation. And when I think about the real value for something like this, as someone who spends a lot of time listening to the music that I listened to in high school, but I don't spend a lot of time listening to new music the idea of something that's highly curated and would add a lot of value to me personally and to all of my managers and senior managers that I ever worked with. When I was young, when I was 22 years old, they came to me and said, hey Sammy, what's the hot music of today? I want you to tell me what young people care about now, because I'm 40 years old now, but I still care about being relevant and I want to know what you guys are talking about. If this can blend the 90s music with what's, if you like the 90s music, you will also like this music today. I can make this a really great energy cycle from here to here. The beat's gonna move from this song to that song really well. If you can get the people of the 90s to listen to the music of today by curating the best of today based on if you already like the 90s, this starts to move into that playlist space and starts to really compete with Spotify, but with this very like highly curated DJ approach instead. I'm wondering if that's the phase 2 that you're thinking about, or if you're just not quite there yet. Because I think that can really bring in both a Gen Z audience and really make the millennials see new value in this.
I think I want you on my team, that's first and foremost. Round of applause for that. You're recording this, right? Good. All right, so to that point, that can be a huge part of phase 2. I've not even thought that far ahead because, again, I've been talking just or thinking about the people who stay home of a certain age. However, you see it all the time on TikTok, songs like Kate Bush going viral, songs from Fleetwood Mac going viral, and it's largely on the backs of 16-year-olds, 20-year-olds who's like, how do you even know about Kate Bush? So yes, there's a really amazing opportunity there, and thank you for sharing that because it's something I'm going to explore more.
Is she trying to say straight up now, Tammy? Do you really?
And it's on brand, by the way. It's on brand. So thank you. Any other questions at all? Commentary? Yes.
To caveat or piggyback on what she had stated, I mean, being intentional with collecting the data as it grows, right, is to find out how you end up subcategorizing it, right? I think you should really take that into consideration in reflection and think about, is it gonna be 90s, 80s, you know, are you gonna call it Gen Z, like categories that may grow from it, 'cause it will grow.
Yes.
Right, and then just being really curated, and then collecting the data properly, being intentional, thinking about the grand picture of how you're gonna subcategorize it is like,
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Thank you very much. So 90s is a brand. If you go to the mixes or when you go to the mixes, I know you're all going to be listening. You all have a card now. I can prove it. You'll hear mixes, songs from the 80s on there. You'll hear songs from the 70s on there too. And the idea is, if you were outside in 1998, what would you likely hear when you go out? Right? So it would be the songs of today, back then, and there would also be a couple of old school songs, which largely were disco records because they were about 20 years old at the time. The user data part, there's already things I'm thinking about A/B'ing because there's a reggae mix, dancehall reggae mix that I really like, that I posted up last night, and there's no talking. So there's no talking on any of the mixes, and what I'd love to do is A/B test mixes where there's a DJ yelling at you kind of thing, which is hype for the club. She's laughing because she knows. And mixes that don't have that because maybe you just, all right, shut up. Let me hear the music. For whatever mood you're in, and then see which track's better. So that's just one way of doing that in addition to what you've already mentioned. So there's really a lot of great opportunities to take a look at user data. I see the long-term working with the bigger companies like a Spotify or a SoundCloud or a YouTube who just really wants all of that user data and also wants to inherit this really great ecosystem. Because beyond music and listening to music, there's other things that I have in mind. I didn't put my roadmap up today because today really is a call to action for all of you to get involved and to spread the word. That said, like, it's about creating that safe space that my friends and I had in May of 2020 on Zoom, you know, just doing it on a bigger scale. Any other questions?
I
Yep.
think that was a cool idea. I mean, I don't see this actually really competing with YouTube. This is getting people that are willing to pay for music, right? And I think, you know, if you got yourself a good list of people that are willing to pay for music, I mean, Spotify, YouTube, they would love to have that.
Absolutely. And the age bracket that's our target, the disposable income is a lot higher than the Gen Z or someone Gen Alpha, right? You look at the disposable income, like the average salary for somebody 35 to 45 is about $90,000. And then as you move up 10 years, it grows to about 150,000. When you go up 10 years, it's actually over 200,000 in terms of disposable income and what they have to spend. So why do we go up to age 70? So actually a question Alicia had for me yesterday. We were talking about it. And Kool Herc, does anybody know who Kool Herc is? He's laughing because he knows, she knows. Who doesn't know who Kool Herc is? Raise your hand. Okay, so Kool Herc is the guy who started hip hop in 1973 in the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx originally, so this is near and dear to my heart. Sedgwick Avenue, he started hip hop. It was just these little parties in the Bronx in 1973 where they would just get together, and it's largely not documented because they were just neighborhood parties. It wasn't until maybe 6 years later when Rappers Delight, anyone ever hear the song Rappers Delight? Hip hop, hip it, did it. So that's largely when hip hop started to get documented as to like, oh, this is a thing, oh, this is what people are doing. Kool Herc was born in 1955, which would make him 68, which puts him in our demo. We don't want to eliminate one of the forefathers who still has a passion for music, and not only that, has a passion for the music that came out 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So a little education for you as well today. Yeah. You didn't have to go to ChatGPT for that one. You got it from me. Who loves you? Again, I encourage you all to get involved. Hit me up. Once you do that job form, I'll have your information so I can ring you up. And we're creating a movement here, an ecosystem where we're loving on our music and really going back in time. And I really want you all around for the ride. I appreciate you all being here today. And a round of applause for yourselves.
All right, another hand for DJ Lewis. Thank you. Later this year, once you've gone completely viral, and we gotta have you come back, and then you can DJ for the 15
Yeah, I'm down with
minutes.
that.
So,
I'm down
We'll
with
turn
that.
this to a dance floor out here. Okay, do we have Chris Fluker here? Oh, hi, okay. Yeah, we have you coming up next. It's mainstream sonography, right? Yeah. Do you have a laptop for slides? Oh, no, I got you. While we're waiting for them to set up, just kind of a couple of reminders. One, about the demos you're hearing today, if you would like to contact one of the founders, all of the information that you can contact them is on our meetup page. If you go to meetup.com, search Vegas Programmers, you'll find the demo time event there and a list of all the demos we had today, along with the people's name and their contact information there. Also, if you are interested in doing a demo at the next month's Tech Alley, grab one of my cards here at the front as you're walking out, or just grab a sticker if you don't have a startup you want to pitch. We only have a couple of spots left, so if you know a startup or a founder who's interested, or even just you're working on a little pet project, we'd love to have you. So feel free to grab my card, give it to a friend if you know somebody who is, or if you'd like to pitch. All right. Who's a Windows person here? Who knows how to get the display settings from Windows?
Usually you just hit the Windows key and then you can search for display on it.
That's what we just did.
Actually, that was one of our demo. That was one of our demo pieces we used was the Khan Academy outside. Oh, you did? Yeah. Appreciate it. I was like, I saw, oh, it's because it picks. Because the program she told us, you don't know your problem. So you're studying. Exactly. No, when I was going back to school, that was one of the things that frustrated the hell out of me was I didn't know what I actually did. Like, study stuff already did. Or I was just like, I was really rushing through stuff that I really shouldn't have studied. That's a big deal. So is your daughter based now in law school? No, she's not. She went her own before. Okay. My son's a lawyer, but no, she's gonna wait a year. She's working at the courthouse. But yes, but she took the one. She took a Princeton review. You know, they guarantee you got money for it. Because I did the same. After I went for 10 course, it was nice. I mean, it was a hard course. They were I don't think a method was for me. So, back to the drawing board.
That's right.
And their school was decent enough. She went for a scholarship. So, for UNLV, you want a certain score on scholarship. No, yeah, my thing was, because again, we just picked random subjects to like demo, but had the Khan Academy library, the Khan Academy code book was available at the library. Oh, okay. So it was actually, I learned, I have a different, like, certain level of respect for the amount of, like, English
Okay,
interpretation.
sorry about that. We will get
it's a lot
started
critical
now.
thinking.
Again, Chris Fluker with Mainstream Stenography.
Hi everybody, thank you for coming today. She's not ready yet. Thanks everybody for coming today. I'm going to talk to you about something a little bit different that less than 1% of the population of the entire world knows about, and it is stenography. My goal is to bring stenography into the mainstream as tech because, as you can see, let me introduce myself. I am Chris Fluker. This is my colleague and friend, Kim Farkas. We are both professional stenographers, court reporters here in Las Vegas. We have worked in the Valley for about 60 years between the two of us. We do trials, arbitrations, mediations, anything that requires a record to be made. What Kim is doing right now is called real-time reporting. She can take down, if I slow down, she can take down everything I say verbatim as a record, word for word. I truly believe this is a keyboard that we need to bring into the mainstream. I'm going to explain to you as best I can in a very short little demonstration with my hands. As you can see, she's writing on this machine. As court reporters, we use this. It's called a stenograph. It actually is one little keyboard. It has 22 keys on it and one number bar across the top. That's it. And in the middle, there's like an asterisk for like correcting errors. The left side of the keyboard is prefixes, how you start words. Your thumb's down here, write vowels. The right-hand side of the keyboard is for suffixes and the end of words, making it possible to stroke words in one stroke. Instead of typing out words, you write words one word at a time. I mean, you can write multiple words at a time. You can write entire pages of code. There's just no limits for this technology. Unfortunately, for the past, 75 years, we've had this. I know it's gigantic, but it's unfortunate because if y'all pull out your phones, we are using the same exact keyboard from 75 years ago. It types one word, one letter at a time, one word at a time, and does nothing else. It's not computed, it's just been made smaller, so your thumbs can tap on it on your little phones. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. The difference between a stenograph keyboard is you can type, as I said, multiple words at a time. You can write, as we speak, phonetically. QWERTY keyboard, or the typewriter, one word at a time, one letter at a time. You gotta ask yourself why, of all these years, we have improved upon every piece of tech there is. Elevators, lights, music, cars drive themselves. We're getting ready to send our kids off to school in self-driving cars, and still, don't forget your keyboard. At some point we have to think about humanity and bettering ourselves in terms of human manual input. We only have one way, and it's this way, and it's very slow. If only we had a keyboard that wrote as we spoke and could communicate with a computer in the only language that a computer understands, which is code. It's the only language it understands. You can speak any language you want, computers only understand code. So why on earth are we still saddling decades of children with 75-year-old input method and expecting them to be able to keep up with the technology that we're pushing at? This part's gonna get cut out. There is a way that I've been told to get a curriculum into a school district, you have to have a means to prove that children can learn and use the technology you're giving them, and it's going to be able to help them make money once they get out of school. Unfortunately, this machine has been mislabeled as a court reporting machine. It's just a keyboard. You can use it for so many things. You can use it for captioning, sports captioning, writing, doctors use it, lawyers can use it. There's tons more uses for it than just court reporting. You guys don't mind, I'm gonna use my cheat sheet. Okay, sorry about that. So, you gotta ask yourself why we haven't done it, and there's two main reasons why stenography has never made its way into the mainstream. The largest one is cost. This machine right here is on sale right now for about $5,000. That doesn't include the software. The software is another $4,100. So whenever you get people interested in looking at what you do, and they're all excited about it, and they try to go learn about it, and they're like, wow, $9,000? I haven't even paid for school yet. So it turns everybody away, and they're just like, I can't do it. There actually is another way to learn stenography for free. There is a free software online. It's called Clever. It is written by a stenographer named Mirabai Knight, and she hired a coder to code the language so we can write real time like she's doing right now. It's on the Discord. If you're like a gamer, you understand what the Discord is. You can go on there, you can download the free software. The only problem is learning it. Court reporting and stenography in general, I don't think it's hard to learn. You can learn basic stenography in 6 to 8 weeks. You can learn the keyboard, you can learn how to write words. The problem is, learning and keeping and growing. And every time you write something, you build your dictionary. So the more you use it, more words come up. Your dictionary is like a cloud. So everything you define into the cloud, every time you hit that same keystroke, it's going to pop up just like it is now. Once again, the two main causes for not going mainstream is cost and then learning it. There's not a lot of brick and mortar schools anymore. A lot of it's online, and it's very, very, very boring to learn. I mean, it's literally a person like me standing here saying words and pointing a stick at a wall, and you just sit there and write, and it's really boring, and it has a dropout rate of about 90%. When I say there's going to be a need for court reporters, we are drowning. The average age for court reporters is about 45 years old. If you wanted a job in court reporting right now and make $100,000 a year, I could get it for you right now. There's so many jobs out there. So yes, the school district can benefit from this, and kids can benefit from this. So why don't we get it out there? How do you teach a mass amount of people this kind of tech without boring them to death and emptying their pockets just for them to quit? The problem is, stenography is always being forced on people as court reporting. If you just learn to write stenography, there's the GitHub and Discord where someone from Clever has now made it so you can take the Lumi, which is what I write on too. There's lots of enthusiast keyboards that you can buy out there, very cheap, $125, something like that. You can hook it right up to your computer. I've seen this one called the Polyglot, and it toggles from QWERTY to Steno just with a click. So you can just be banging away. Anything that has a search bar, anything that requires, typing with a keyboard, you can do it with a stenograph keyboard. And I'm gonna tell you, it's proven. Stenographers, people that use stenography keyboards are 5 to 6 times faster in everything they do. So why would we not want to help all our children become, from the bottom of the stack, 5 times faster than everyone else? I don't call this a niche market, I call it a necessity. Tech has passed us by, and we're sitting here trying to spell our way in. If only we had a keyboard that could communicate the way we speak, because we don't spell at each other. I don't walk up and say SUP, HOW, we don't do that, that's bizarre. We speak in words, in phrases, in clauses, phonics, conjunction, junction. This keyboard writes in phonics, it's coded, and it can communicate with a computer. So why are we still using our great-grandpa's tech to communicate every single day? It just doesn't make any sense. So back to the way I'm trying to get it in is, you're still trying to wonder, how the heck can we do it for a lower cost? How can we teach mass amounts of people? My idea is VR. And I've been told a lot of times you can't build a steno keyboard in VR, but yes you can, because we're building it. I have a partner, and it is underway. It is being built. So can you imagine, taking it into I'm thinking 7th grade, middle school would be perfect. You already know how to spell, you know how to use your phone and a keyboard. Let's start teaching kids a tech that they will be able to use to accelerate them, to be able to keep up with the tech we're shoving at them every day. Or they can just sit on the couch the rest of their lives with potatoes for heads and let ChatGPT, down the hall, run their lives for them. I mean, everything has a use, but in order for us to keep up with tech, we have to have a means of communicating with tech that understands code. This does. This doesn't. In VR, the app is going to be created. It is immersive, it is colorful, you have the VR on, and that's all that's around you. Like, I can't even imagine, if I had to go to boarding school today, I would never pass. I would never get out. We have learned so much tech in the past 30 years, like, I would never be able to sit still and watch someone point a stick at a wall for, 45 minutes a day. I couldn't do that. In VR, I don't know how many people here game at all. Anybody play in VR at all? You know how great it is. You put it on, you're just in another world. It's amazing. There's no better gaming than VR. The unfortunate thing about VR is the keyboard. It's like this floating, weird thing that you can't move. It's just a QWERTY keyboard, and it sits there, and you gotta kind of point at it, pluck at it, and it's difficult. By the time I'm 20 minutes in, I'm done. I can't. So it just deters people. VR is failing because of it. Gaming is great, but everything else, terrible. Terrible. Why not make it better? Why not use a keyboard that you don't have to look at? The problem with VR is they want you to wear this helmet on your head and then sit at a desk with an external keyboard and a mouse. Why would we do that? You could sit at the desk without a thing on your head with a keyboard and a mouse, and it just doesn't make any sense. Because you have to look at a QWERTY keyboard. You have to find all the keys. There's a whole bunch of them. You got to shift, and nobody memorizes that because they change a lot, and they move things around. Whatever laptop you buy. See, look at Kim. She doesn't seem to be in any emotional distress. I'm sorry. I have a limited amount of time. She's ready to kick me.
You're going a little fast for her.
I'm sorry. But she's not exerting any more energy than a person with a laptop would be, just typing on their QWERTY keyboard, and she's able to type everything I say as it's happening, as we should. Because that's how we communicate. We don't type something and then wait. Sorry about that. It just makes sense to me. I truly believe VR can be saved by the Steno keyboard because you don't have to look at it. It just can follow your hands anywhere you go. She doesn't move her hands. There's only 22 little keys and they stay right like this. You don't got to do this. You don't have to look for anything. It just makes sense. Meta, why don't you put this in your headsets? At least give people the choice when you open up a laptop to decide what keyboard you want to use. Do I want to be proficient today or just want to keep plucking along with my thumbs? To me, it makes a lot of sense. I know it's hard to understand Steno at all, and then I'm putting all this on top of it, but when you think about it a little bit later, it really makes sense. You don't got to look at the keyboard. You don't have to move your hands. It has a very short range of depth stroke with less than a centimeter. You don't really need nothing but a tiny little maybe collider underneath it. You're gonna feel something. You could put your hands on a desk, you put it on your legs. Doesn't matter. It's VR. You're supposed to be hands-free, right? Isn't that the point? It's never gonna make it with a QWERTY keyboard. So like I said, I think I've thrown enough at you guys today. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but I do have more to say, but I'm just gonna stop that right there. Anybody have questions so far?
Just want to comment, Kim, that is awesome.
Okay.
Like the way you're just keeping up with her.
She's a rock star.
That's
Kim
just
is a
amazing.
real-time writer. She's actually certified real-time. She's one of the best. That's why I brought her. Kim Borges.
So I'll throw a couple wrenches in there.
Right.
So I think this is awesome. I think that, like you said, it has so much use case, like in VR and stuff like that. I think
Sports
the
betting.
first thing that comes to my mind, so recently there was a story that came out about people using GPSs to navigate. And I didn't really read it, to be honest, but the premise of it was, should people stop relying on GPS technology? Is this making us dumber? Is this causing people to stop be able to find these directions on their own, because we're relying so much on technology. Do you have a fear that if you use this in an education environment, like people will become too reliant on the technology and not be able to spell or navigate the English language without this kind of technology?
No, because it's phonetic. It writes as we speak. Like I said, 7th grade, you already know how to spell. Look at the kids in the script spelling bee. They spell it better than I can, and they're in 5th grade. You know how to spell by the time you're in 7th grade. Let's just go on to an adult keyboard, because it's just time for these two technologies to come together. VR's not going to make it with that ACORDI keyboard. I heard the Quest 3 is coming out with haptic gloves as their controllers because they know they're in trouble. A haptic gloves with the, yep, to me that's just everything, because I know it's going to change everything. Being in VR and not having to look at your hands and just being able to work your entire console. You could get emails, phone calls, texts, anything, and you're not going to have to sit there and plug around and waste time, look at your phone and take off the headset. It's a pain. This technology makes sense because you don't have to look at it. You can run everything through it. I plan on social media and everything, because why do we want to go back to a DOS-based anything? It just makes sense.
How does this compete with something that can transcribe every word that you say, like with the newer technologies where it can just transcribe every word?
Not every word, and not as you say it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not perfect as of right now, but as it continues to learn just with all technology,
I will challenge you right now, and everyone in here, pull out your phones and ask ChatGPT, is ChatGPT or AI going to take over court reporting? And I guarantee you it's going to say no, because court reporting has too many human nuances that digital cannot pick up. I turn around and I'm rumbling some papers and I'm over here. You don't know what I'm doing. You don't know what I'm saying. When I'm sitting in a courtroom, I can hear somebody 70 feet away in a mask with meth lungs. Because I've done this so long, you pick up on the human nuances and you know what people are saying. That's the difference between digital. You throw something out of your car, you're trying to find somewhere to go, and you end up like on the other side of town. You're like, stupid dragon text or whatever. It's not 100% either. You have control of this. I don't think we should lose human manual input. We still have things we need to input.
I do agree with that. I do agree that we given technology so much power in so many different ways, and it's like at this point we almost can't stop it. It's just where we're headed.
5 to 6 times faster, not percent, times. You write pterodactyl once, she can write it 6 times. See?
Pterodactyl came out. Good girl.
Good job. Pterodactyl on there.
So you mentioned like the virtual reality and meta and stuff like that. Have you ever tried to test this out by creating a virtual conference room and then have the technology where people would use it to communicate with each other?
That would be great, but like I said, less than 1% of the world understands stenography, and about less than 1% of that is like me that games in VR and does both. So it's very hard to find that person.
Is there a way that you could get something test case scenario or something like that? Or?
Yes, that's my plan.
Okay.
The app is being built. Like I said, I'm not on the production side of it per se. I'm more on the curriculum and theory side. But it's gonna happen.
Time for one more question.
Can I suggest that you go into the production side? The text to voice translation I think is a really valuable competitor to be considering, especially when you say AI in virtual reality is not going to make it with a QWERTY keyboard. Voice to AI is a great one. But the first thing that I thought about was, as a student, when I'm in 7th grade, the only thing I care about more than getting my homework done on my computer is the video games I'm playing. And that's all going to be QWERTY or AWST. So the industry that we are in right now is slated in a different direction. The thing that I just Googled and the answers, unfortunately, it's not helpful, is if it was more ergonomic to use the stenography keyboard, that would be really powerful. But the research that I got in 5 seconds, I'm not an expert, is that it's actually less ergonomic to use the 22 keyboard item. So if you went into the production space and made a keyboard that was more comfortable and more ergonomic than what we have right now, I think that can create not just the value add that you guys are talking about, but the app is more ergonomic.
That it is in the app. There is a keyboard in the app. You're gonna learn in the app. You can get a subscription-based app. You wanna pay $9,100, or you wanna pay $10 a month to learn steno. I can teach you in 2 months. And then you can use it throughout your whole life in everything you do. Like I said, there's plugins from, you can download, you can start using steno in 8 weeks. You just, and as far as the gaming goes, it's VR. Everything's a game. Everything looks fun to a seventh grader. The curriculum is broken up into learning steno. The last part of the curriculum is games. Every day you will be playing games. Geared, like the games you see, like Centipede, the words coming down. There's games and kids will like it. That's the interactive part, and that's how you keep kids wanting to do it. Every child I've ever seen, and they see this, they're like blown away. How do I do it? Where do I get it? Unfortunately, do you have $9,100? Well, I can't help you. It's really that bad. It's such a market that's been taken over. All the software is encumbered, except the one I told you about, Clever, but you still have to learn it on your own. And learning it on your own is tough. It is not easy. It's boring, and you really have to have a desire to do it. Learning in an app that is immersive and fun and colorful and bright, yes, 7th graders will be like, it's VR, 4th period. They're gonna wanna learn it. And it's not gonna damage their heads. It's only 44 minutes a day are the lessons. That's it. Because I've, researched that that's all kids should have it on their head. Outside of VR, I plan on having a corresponding app that you can use outside of VR. So you take the technology you learn in a way that you now can understand, and it's so much easier to learn it than, like I said, pointing a stick at a wall. I'd rather just walk into traffic. You can't do it. It's so boring. But all the kids that I've done this little spiel before, and they've come up to me afterwards and they're like, how do we learn it? How do we learn it? And the only way I can tell them is Clever. And it's a great way to learn it, but unfortunately you're on your own. There's free classes out there, but till the app's out, that's all I can give you.
Last question.
Sorry.
No doubt what you say about VR is true, I think. It's great. But why would a 22-button keyboard be $5,000? It must be purely demand, right? You could knock one of those up for no money. Or just
Can you?
20, I don't know exactly. 22 keys, you just have half an inch. That's not expensive to manufacture.
Like I said,
So I
there's a
think
lot
that
of
maybe
enthusiasts.
you're in a weird situation where you've got a chicken and egg situation where there's no demand for these keyboards, so they aren't really manufactured en masse. So they have to charge a lot to manufacture them. If you really like to put in order for 10,000, I'm sure they could do it cheap.
I'm sure they
You know what I
can too,
mean?
but they won't.
Yeah, because you're kind of breaking that cycle of lack of demand, therefore expensive, intensive manufacturing.
I'm not
by
willing
doing
to let
the
it
VR.
go. I'm not willing to let the technology go. It's way too useful. You guys see it. She's doing the damn thing right here. I'm not making it up. It's been around for 35 years and it's been hidden basically in plain sight. Nobody knows about it. Just think how useful this would be. If you write papers, if you're a doctor, you don't have to. I'm waiting for someone to make a laptop that just has the thing built into it. Then I can save all the connections and all this garbage. Somebody make me a laptop with the keyboard right into it. That would just solve it all for me.
It should be no more expensive than a regular keyboard. It's just
Exactly.
less.
And you know what? It's the software that's encumbered. There's only about 4 makers of it, and you can't find it. You can't touch it.
They aren't making any money by selling it to such a small market, so they have to charge a lot to keep the business. That's
Exactly.
all it's going. So if you were to break that cycle of having no demand, the price would fall dramatically. It could be a mass market.
All right. Thank
Sorry,
you.
guys. That was almost a flop.
That was awesome.
Chloe Point Schools.
I'd be interested, me as a programmer, if I could utilize that.
Yes.
Actually, right now.
See, that's just what I have on my paper right over
Yeah.
there. There's so many uses for it. Word documents, coding. You can knock out all those things that you need to code in one stroke.
Think of it, it's a language. It's like another language.
Knock it out.
That's all it is.
That's awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
Well, I gotta look more into it. Well, let's definitely have you back when you have like a demo or something like that together.
Thank you.
All right, next up, the one, the only, Joshua Levitt with Intagli and his counterparts. Zach and Nick. Okay, cool. Yeah.
be very quick. Quincy, you mind to take paper out? My mom wants to see you speak. All right, well, we'll try to be quick because we're really excited about Sharon in Tagley and letting you know where we are and obviously being respectful of everybody's time in the next couple meetups that are coming up. So in Tagley, what is Tagley? Tagley, I think we get technical, is a two-sided marketplace, but really what it does is it unifies 3D printing. The idea is that if someone wants something wants something printed in 3D, we connect them to somebody in the community that has a 3D printer. So what I want to do actually here with this slide is I'm going to basically give you the origin story of how Tagley came about, and then we're going to do a quick demo on how it works. So Tagley comes from the term intaglio, which is I think an old printing concept, and we had a meeting with my blonde hair back in the day. I love that look, but man, the keep was terrible. I'm trying to maintain my hair as much as I can, and it was, anyway. And then of course Zach Gonzalez, as well, who's the CTO and co-founder of Tagley. I can't wait to tell you how that happened. So behind the idea, it actually was a conversation about STEM careers. Right? I'm an advisor with the state, and they were talking about STEM careers, and I asked the question, well, what the heck is a STEM career? I want to give you the advice, but let's have some discussion here. So there was a lot of chat. Some people were saying, oh, it's nursing, and it's IT, or it's not nursing, or so on. So I was really struggling with coming up with an idea. If I was going to give you advice, how do we define a STEM career? And so I ended up looking at what STEM education covers. Communication, collaboration, creative thinking, and critical thinking. And I thought on that for a little bit, and I said, you know what that is? That's an entrepreneur. That's someone that asks why and then solves for why. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're starting a business, but it could be an entrepreneur. It could be somebody in any profession that's basically saying, why are we doing this way? Why don't we try something a little bit different? And then they execute on that. That's what I think the STEM by STEM career is. So it's not defined by saying, no, it has to be a technology career. No, it's just as a way of thinking, right? That's what makes, I think, our students, it's the goal of making our students competitive within a global economy. So I thought about it, right? What do we do? I like to say it was a nighttime, right? I gave it a good day, and then it hit me. A little morning symbol, and we're going to go for fight. And actually, I want to pretend that that's really how it came, but it wasn't. There was a lot of collaboration, because the concept that I had was, let's create a culture around entrepreneurism. So my original thought was, let's get 3D printers in every library in Las Vegas, in Nevada. I said, because if a fourth grader was building a Lego set and they couldn't find the piece that they want, I want them to know that they could solve their problem by going through a place and just printing it out themselves. Or if they have a business idea or a tinker idea, they just go to a library and print it out. Create that culture of, I just know what to do, right? And so that was the original intent, was let's get 3D printers in every library in Nevada. And I started pitching this idea and learning all the complications. And actually, this is the whiteboard where I was in UNR saying, how about libraries go to your makerspaces and you guys print them, and they just sort of these sort of orders things for them, right? That way, because I heard that the complications in libraries was, these are complicated devices, they're sort of in the corner, no one's sort of using them, they just sort of buy them because they feel like they have to, right? But they're not being utilized. And so my thought process, let's let the universities do it. So you can see me trying to draw out this idea. And I'll get every idea, right? You hear, no, not gonna work, no, and you're like, no, it'll work, let's keep going, right? And you see, I was kind of going around here, and I think I cut off here, but they're talking about the cost of it. And it was the cost of the employees and the other printers and so on. And I said, well, why don't you just cluster this? Why don't we partner with somebody, cluster this? And I said, why don't we Uberify it? That boy took a picture of it and said, I'm going to take that one back. That's a pretty good idea, right? And so I actually came to a tech alley and I pitched it. I really wanted entrepreneurs to hear this idea and take it. And we'll get to that point of how it came together, but we talked about it there. So the whole entire concept was, I need something 3D printed. Our app is going to find somebody within the community that's going to provide that 3D printing for us. In the libraries, it's basically a service that they offer. So you've seen it on their websites, right? I think I have a little thing right here as well, where they have all these cool little services that you can get from them. Yeah, you can have 3D printing.
and upload their 3D printing file, what they call an STL, or grab it from a catalog or so on. Someone in the community would then print up that device, so they don't have to have that idea. I'm a big fan of Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? You guys ever read that book? If I would have read that book when I was 14, I'd be a billionaire by now. But I found about passive income way later, right? But the concept was everything is a liability until it's making money. It's an asset, right? So not only we provided, the concept was, hey, let's provide a service to the library where they don't actually have to own this this device. Let's create an economy within the Las Vegas region, the Nevada region, and so on. So that's how we we're originally doing it with the libraries, creating a service. We're actually working with the Henderson Library as we speak. But again, our process, everybody's a winner. You have again the culture that we're building, where they're learning how to be an entrepreneur, learning how to solve problems, and to make products or producers. You got people that have 3D printers are now making money off of this device, right? And you have libraries and makerspaces and other firms that are providing a service that's now scalable beyond owning a device. So we're creating something that, again, everybody is a winner. And I wanted to go quick on that, and in fact, I'm going to give you a demo of the app right now, but you actually check it out. The app's up and running. In fact, we originally were going to concentrate just on libraries and makerspaces because we thought that's a really cool idea. We allocate a budget to it, we kind of have an idea of that monthly recurring revenue that we're going to get. The items are sort of safe because it's being catered by those products. And then CES happened. And one of the people that was presenting there was coming from France, left one of their crucial parts to their presentation in France. And we're panicked. And said, hey, does anybody know anybody that has a 3D printer? Thankfully, we had a friend that said, I know somebody. And they reached out to Intagli. They had that part printed and delivered the next day to CES. They thought it was going to cost them $500. It cost them $5.50. They couldn't believe it, but I was like, what was this part? I want to see what happened. I actually went to it. They had a cooling, like a liquid cooling server, and their part actually connected the hose to the server. So it was crucial, right? And it was working, and it was 3D printed, and they couldn't believe what they were able to get to us. So we said, hey, you know what? Maybe we better go B2C a lot sooner than we anticipated. And especially with CES kind of thing, we'll throw an upcharge on that and so on. But so we immediately started going more toward the B2C side. So we're still working with the B2B, B2G, but now we're into the B2C, and this actually brings up the Intagli site itself. The other sites actually have their own portal and so on. So I know we have a little bit of time, so I'm going to quickly show you how Intagli works. And you can go ahead and follow through with this. You have to create an account and so on. But this is one of the Henderson sites, the Intagli site for Henderson, which isn't showing. Wait a second. There it goes. There. So how it works is there's two ways. There is a custom print, so you can upload a custom print so you can create something, or there is a catalog. And the catalog is basically operators, we call them operators, people that have 3D printers that can say, hey, I specialize in this item, I can print this for you, and they can put it up there, so it's almost like a marketplace for folks to do this. But let's get started by going to clicking create a print. So this would be something that I have a project, I broke the back of my remote control off of my TV remote, right? And I happen to go online and find a piece, or I measure it myself and I find a piece. You can go over here and you can say, actually, we're gonna give an example. I got a new desk, it didn't have a hole, I drilled a hole in it and I did a desk run, right? I'll show you how it works. So, being this, I have to use my glasses. So, you click on something like this and it says, all right, well, it's real easy. Just browse and find it. So there's my STL, I actually created it myself. I hit OK, I hit next, it's showing up there. I can pick how many of them I want. One. I can pick a color. And we'll do it orange. It shows the material that we're using right now. We're strictly sticking with PLA. It's very, very common. It's safe, and eventually there'll be much more material. But the thought process is, we want to have a pretty good understanding of what the people in the community are using. There are some ones that are a lot hotter that you have to use it, need ventilation and stuff. So we don't want to put anybody in a weird position at their home as they're printing these things. You can do instructions, right? Don't mess it up. Right? And then we hit next. And so, all right, here's your order details. And there you go. There's your grommet, and you continue. Now this would be for the library, as we said. So this would be a patrons of the library. They would pick actually a delivery location for it. You continue, and done. It says we're going to get you there in about 3 days. There's the address we're going. Perfect. And now what's happened is, and actually we didn't show it, but there's actually a software in the back end that's grabbing that file, slicing it, determining, all right, what kind of, how long is it going to take? What kind of printer is going to need in order to do this? And then it goes out into the community and matches in what somebody that has those specs. Now, what's going on too, and we can demonstrate that, is that there is an operator would have, like an Uber, right? So they're going to get a notice that says, hey, there's a job that came out. It's going to cost you, it's going to be a 3-hour job, and do you want it or don't you want it? And hopefully, Nick, you got that sort of notification.
Yes, so here I got a notification for the order, and I have options to accept or decline the order. It tells me what I can expect to make as an operator, and it also tells me when the order is due.
Yeah, and it does a lot of things. So he can accept it, and then it will notify the person via email. By the way, you've been accepted. Here's the person got it. Here's the printer and so on and so on. You can go on for it. Now there's a timer that comes up with it. So once he hits accepts, he gets they're going to get the file and all the special instructions. They're going to print it out. Once they're done, they take a couple pictures of the file. They complete. We actually have a courier service through the app as well, so we can control from order to delivery. That's how we can make it so it's cheap and fast, and we don't have to have the complications of working with other industries when it comes to it. But as soon as it hits complete, that courier, same sort of thing goes out to a courier. They can accept it or reject it. They pick it up and deliver it. And the cost of it is really, really great. It's $1 per hour for the operator, for someone that's printing. That's what we pay the person that's printing. It's $3.50, and that goes to Intaglia. That's a service fee, and then it's $5 for delivery. And really, again, people that were at TES, right, expected to be a $500 part. Again, very, very expensive. That's why libraries are attracted to it. That's why schools are attracted to it with theirs. They don't have to own the equipment. They can create budgets. It's really quite cost effective. And we're, again, with CES, we're seeing the clients are going to be attracted to it as well. And just to give a quick demo on a couple other things, as I said, we have catalogs. And these are just a couple examples where you can do the same thing and add the card and go this route. But one of the things we're concentrating and working with libraries and schools on is how to create 3D art. So free service like Tinkercad here, you see I created it from it, measured it and stuff. And this is where I really think the talent component is this part of stuff. So having kids concentrate on this component of 3D printing and not necessarily watching a 3D printer go back and forth, right, is really exciting. So there is money within the state and so on where the libraries are going to be teaching curriculum around this. You have makerspaces that sort of thing. But you can use Tinkercad as a free idea, as well as sites like Thingiverse here, where it's a community of 3D printed projects that people have done, and they just provide you the STL for free. And you can sort of do a search and find some things. I'm going to say, the product I love the most, I gave to all my family, toothpaste squeezers. I don't know if you've seen them, but you stick the end of your toothpaste in it and you push it out and it comes out. I love those. I was like, how the hell did I never use these things? Because you're always rolling them up. And so, I printed that thing out and tried it because I think we might even have one on the catalog. Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use a good picture of it. But anyway, let's see if I can find
It's
it
at
here.
the bottom. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, did I miss it? Oh yeah, these things right here. These things so damn simple, right? But the beauty of it is you can download it, put it up to Tinkercad, you can manipulate it, put a little icon in there, but hey, I think I put a heart for my wife's, on there, and so on. Because we don't want to, cross-examine or what is these other toothpaste squeezer. But I love these damn things. And, so you find it. That's what 3D printing is. Again, sort of getting creative, finding solutions for little issues. Once you start 3D printing, you start realizing I can solve everything with PLA and 3D printing and so on. But anyway, that's Intaglia. That's what we came up with, and we're really excited to be bringing it. The product is up and running. I please ask you to try it out to see if there's something that you like. Look at Tinkercad. It's easy as just downloading an STL, or I'm sorry, Thingiverse, downloading the STL, uploading it, and having a blast. We'll get it to you within 3 days. Yeah. I was going to give you an example, and you guys probably have already heard of it, but when I originally circled that Uberify, I came to Tech Alley, and I described it to entrepreneurs during Dan Vigo's pitch workout room, and I wanted someone to take the idea, because the thought process was is I shared this idea at once, I have to see it executed, I don't have enough time in order to do it, I want an entrepreneur to grab it. So I went there, and I pitched this idea. Zach came up to me a little bit later and said, I think we can make this work. And after a little bit of talking, I said, I think we can make this work too. I'm on in. And we ended up launching the business. I think that was January. I shared it by July. We had already had the product up and running, and we're starting to work with libraries on testing it out. But now, yeah, it's open for the public. We hope that you get a chance to take a look at it and try it out. And we're excited to see us scale across to much more communities and states. Any questions? I'm happy to answer. Yeah.
What do you do if you come across a device that was intellectually, has intellectual property that's protected? So let's say someone wanted to print a statue of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, so there's right now so if you look at it, we're basically just connecting a customer to someone that has a 3D printer. We're just that intermediary sort of side of it. But there are licensing agreements on both ends, right? So right now, if someone does do something that's trademarked, especially if they put it on the catalog, then we have the notification that says, let us know, and that's how we handle that part. For schools and libraries, they can set up requirements, right? That says we don't want people printing this or this or that or this, and then we can filter that stuff out and monitor it, and so on. Oh yeah, we can show you like a school. Let me show you a school. This is Macabre. So what they are doing, and they have their own custom catalog, is they do these marble runs, and they want kids to print up these marble runs and create these whole contraptions. And so their catalog is more on this, so you can see it can be filtered out and created if an organization themselves wanted to see it. But we do have requirements, especially in our agreement, that says no guns or things that are illegal, right? Oh, I forgot to tell you as well, is that the end user, the customer, actually rates their experience with the tagging. So, well, I should say with the operator. So if they get the product and it looks terrible, of course we have pictures of it because they took pictures of it, and we'll evaluate it. They put 2 stars, 3 stars, and then that's how we sort of keep quality control in there. If they're too low, after a while, we no longer put them on the list. It's eligible. Yeah. Oh, and Zach was reminding me too. We also vet them. So there's actually a process. If you go to the Integrity site, you can see it, where anybody, if someone has a 3D printer and they want to be part of the program, they can actually. There's a process where we vet them, where they can click on here, they download an app, and we actually send them little tiny pieces where they have to print it out. The test like, hey, you know how it happens with string, so something that's more susceptible to stringing and like hanging issues and stuff like that. They print them, they take the pictures, pay them $1, because it takes about an hour for them to do it. And if it looks good, then we add them into the queue. If it doesn't, then we try to help them out. So the other parts of our products, and we're working on that, is videos on how to troubleshoot 3D printing, how to run a business, and so on. So we want to be good advocates for those people that are trying to create something like a business using technology. We're looking to expand in a lot of ways, right? We're looking at becoming facilitating orders as far as supplies. We're looking at that as certain revenue, because I was actually a little surprised when I started doing 3D printing just a little bit ago, was that there was no, believe it or not, the colors are like crayons, fire truck red, and variations of it. I'm like, where's the standardization on this sort of thing? So we're looking at some really cool ideas around that, and as well as you might have seen some of the things in the catalogs where they're showing a keychain where there's some metal or components that we're looking to make sounds of those things. Not that we would actually stockpile, we would just be a pass-through. Anyway, we have a really cool ideas of how to generate multiple various revenue. Yes.
Sorry, I know we're almost at time, but especially because you're doing this on such a local level, one way I could see this expanding that would be really cool is from a sustainability perspective, being able to bring in like the old marble pieces that they don't need anymore, either trading that in so someone else can use it or melting it down so they can use it again. Is that something that's in your roadmap?
For the school?
Just when you print something, the ink itself can be reused into like other inks.
No, we're going to give them a product like it's their product. There is no return on that. But there is other items, right? So really, we say peer-to-peer or two-sided marketplace for 3D printing is actually for fabrication. So we're looking at Cricuts, we're looking at 3D laser cutters, and anything that people have in their garage, we're going to connect people with those people that have that sort of thing. So, that's again, as we move forward on that, 3D printing, it just happens to be, what I originally pitched, but we saw so many ideas with this. And believe it or not, there's a tremendous amount of people out there that have 3D printers. They're trying to make businesses. You look at Etsy, there's 5,000 people out there that are trying to do this sort of thing. So we can see ourselves, hey, we're going to go to California. Who's in California? Let's check at Etsy. All right, we're going to contact them. It doesn't cost anything for an operator to be part of our platform. We're just another way for them to generate revenue. But there is things that we've learned from other entrepreneurs, like as don't have too many people that are operators before there's work. So there's a staggered plan here because what'll end up happening is they'll just delete the app. They're not going to do it. Any other thoughts or questions? Yes, sir.
What's your strategy for getting more operators?
Well, I sort of says that. So as we are seeing more of a demand in people using the product, we're going to reach out to those operators through sites that are already a marketplace for them, Etsy, and so on, where they actually have this whole catalog of people that are basically saying, "Hey, I'll print this for you," when they're selling like their printing services. We'll reach out to them and say, "Hey, join us in our platform." Again, it's free, so they have no reason to say no. I don't want to do that because it's just another way to advertise their store. And that's how we see operators. It's their business that we're going to help get customers to.
All right, another round of applause for that. Next
month, we're actually going to do our launch party here at Tech Alley.
Sweet.
So I hope you guys can come. We're actually talking about some of the tickets or some things that we're going to make. I'm so pushing for those toothpaste things.
Yes.
But anyway, I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Round of applause for all of our presenters. Again, if you want to present, grab a card and reach out to me. We still have a few spots left for next month. We're going to be kicking it right into the Vegas Programmers Meetup right now. We have a speaker from Google who's going to be talking about reactive programming, as well as talking a little bit about ChatGPT, and we have a few small presentations.
Yes.
So I'd ask if you are going to have conversations, please take them out to the lobby because we're going to kick right into it.
What's that?
My